Oscar Bevis, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted to be joined by the man himself. Bit of a face around this area. Big John, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. I don't know if I'm much of a face, but it's nice for you to say, thank you.
Well, I told you that I've spoke to so many boxers over the last couple of years, boxers with millions of followers, boxers who have been world champions, and coming and having pie and mash with you today is the one thing that's made my brother go, I think he's got a good job here.
Well, that's nice. At least I make somebody happy. I got stopped for a couple of photographs today, so I really don't know what people see in me, but it's nice that they do, and if I bring a bit of joy to people's lives, so good, so be it.
You definitely do, John. Obviously, everyone's seen the videos, and said you're becoming a cult hero, even though you ain't even stepping in the ring. So there you go. Just want to sort of recap 8 or 9 days ago, Johnny, for the first time, fought in front of the Romford army. He looked good in his first 3 outings. He looked good again, this time with a massive backing. He's going to have bigger and better fights in his career, but that must have been just a perfect night for the Fisher family.
Well, to be honest, you've hit it right on the head. Anything that went well could have gone well. It went as well as we'd have hoped. But I must say, when we were sitting there, I just sat in my seat because I keep myself to myself before the fight. And when people were cheering, when he was being shown on the screen in his changing rooms, it was just surreal. You know, the noise, the crowd, the atmosphere. I still can't get over it, to be honest with you. It felt like I was in a dream, if I'm being truthful.
I've asked the other boys, I asked Terry and I asked Tom, obviously, they would have worked around loads of different people and personalities, but being his dad, you'll know Johnny inside out. What is it about Johnny you think that makes him so personable? Because yes, you got an army from Romford, but Johnny doesn't know all of them 2,000 people personally as best friends. So there's people who are supporting Johnny because of his personality and what he's like. What do you think it is about him that people sort of latched onto, do you think?
Well, I'll be truthful, like there was a lot of people from the local area, and as Eddie said it, people know people that know people. But we did have a lot of support as well from all over the country. There's people from Newcastle, people from Liverpool, people from Cornwall, people from Devon, and I think Johnny's just himself. That is who he is. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. He's not trying to be saying he's not. He's just trying his best. He gives his best in everything he does. And I know he's my son, it's hard to say, but he is a nice bloke, you know, so what you see is what you get. So I think people relate to that, I really do.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there. I don't think there's a single person that wants to see Johnny fail in this sport. He's done brilliantly so far and looked good, as always, in a tough fight. I said to Johnny, sold acres, took 4 rounds to get Torero out of there. Tommy Welsh went the distance with him. So a little bit of a statement made as well, and a career best performance from Johnny, and he looked really good as well.
Yeah. Listen, there's always going to be people that probably want to see him fail. That's human nature, and the bigger he gets, the better he gets. That'll probably increase, but he'll always have more people that like him than don't. As regards Sol, Tommy Welsh, Johnny does what he does. You know, Solomon's a different type of boxer. Tommy Welsh, he's a great boxer. On the night, things can go differently, but it's good to make a statement. But obviously, you just got to do what you can on that night, you know. And if it works out better for you, so be it. But that's not taking anything away from the other guys because they're top prospects as well.
Yeah, and they'll maybe be on a warpath to meet each other in a few years. Who knows? But I want to pick up on something you said earlier, actually, when we was having a little bit of pie mash. Shout out Sainsy's as well, lovely gaff, and Dan in there, top bloke. I want to pick up on something you said. You said Johnny's very tetchy around fight week. Now, I haven't really met a very tetchy John because I haven't been around him too much on the fight weeks. But just talk to me about Johnny on these fight weeks.
Listen, if you was in our house the week before he went into the hotel, once he goes into the hotel, he's fine. But because he can't really go out the week before, he has to stay home, he gets very tetchy. I mean, he was roughing our Rottweiler dog up, Arnie, and he's like giving him a little nip, and then he's thinking, oh, I've got a cut on my arm. He said his fist was hurting before, we had to go physio. It's mind games. You know, you just want to he wants to get into the arena action, into the hotel, with his coaches. But being at home, if you'd have been videoing him, you would have seen a totally different side. Don't get me wrong, nothing wrong, but just tetchy. Just anything you said, he's like jumping down your throat. Most boxers must go through it, but you don't get to see it. But it happens every time. And I'd be worried if it didn't happen, to be honest with you, because I know he's in the right place. And then all of a sudden he'll get up one morning and he'll go, yeah, I feel good. So then we know we're ready to go.
I was going to say, what can you even do about that? Because when he's around Mark, he can give him boxing advice and he'll have sort of mental and physical things that they can sort of click onto. But as his family, I suppose you're the people he's most comfortable around. So what can you actually do when he's being tetchy? Because no one knows that feeling of walking to the ring other than Johnny.
It was one day I was at work and he rang me and he said, oh, my fist is hurting. He'd caught it on the pad. And I said, look, Johnny, you can do this, you can do that. I spoke to his physio. I said, look, let's just talk to John, go and see your physio. So I got on the phone to his physio, John Winters. And then he spoke to him, I spoke to him. Yeah. You just need reassuring. I think that's all it is. Just reassuring, because he could do everything he wanted to do with his hand. It's just your mind plays tricks on you. But then he did say, well, I can still win if I only use one hand. You know, so, but I said, Johnny, you'll be fine. And then John got on the phone to him after I spoke to John, and they did the warm-up, the live warm-up, the media day, and he said, just punch through the pain. And when he was doing them pads, he had a little bit of pain, but he punched through it, and then it was perfect. So it all went. So what John said worked the trick. So in answer to your question, just talk as much as you can, just reassure, you know, because although he's a big, strong man, boxers get nervous, you know, especially with the expectation of all the fans. So I think that was playing on his mind as well. First one, that's out the way now with all the fans, so hopefully get better and better.
And like you said earlier, it was literally a perfect weekend or week for Johnny and the team. I want to talk about something that happened before the fight, right? So it was meant to be on the Dillian Whyte, Otto Wallin undercard. Seriously good fight. People really looking forward to it on pay-per-view as well. Obviously that didn't materialise because of Dylan's shoulder injury. And Johnny, I think a lot of people didn't know how to take this, because I know that Johnny would have stepped in to fight Wallin. He said it online, and a lot of people, you know, fair play, will say, look, he's doing it to perhaps shine a bit of publicity on himself. From your perspective, is there anything that Johnny told you or was speaking about? Because I know he would have stepped in with Wallin, because I know Johnny well, but is there anything that it was said that he told you, or because people didn't think he was being serious and he was being deadly serious?
Listen, I'll tell you the truth, I never tell no lies. Being 100% serious, he sold 1,400 tickets out of his hand. He wanted the show to go ahead. So he said, I'll fight Wallin. He'd fight Wallin. You know, he probably would have got beat. We know that he's a level above, but he could have put in a good performance. He could have come out in defeat better than in victory, you know. So, but there was not one bit of fear or apprehension that he wouldn't have fought Wallin. He would have fought him all day long just to keep the show going because of the amount of fans that were coming. So, and I would have backed him as well, because obviously, yeah, Wallin's a higher grade than him, but what's he got to lose? Nothing. You know, you're in a win-win situation, you know. So, but on the other hand, Wallin probably wouldn't have wanted to fight him because Johnny would have been seen as a banana skin for him. So, you know, but Johnny 100% would have took that fight, 100%.
Yeah, well, obviously it didn't happen, but it just shows sort of the minerals that Johnny's got early days and not scared to jump in with someone that, like you said, at the moment we know his level's above Johnny. Just finally, yeah, next year you must be looking forward to it. Johnny said he's going to fight 6 or 7 times. Eddie's talking about a world tour, but it's just that sort of draw of bringing the 1,600 from Romford or 2,000 from Romford. I know you could take 200 to Spain and a few hundred to Vegas, but there's a draw of fighting around here now. But is the world tour on the cards next year?
Well, listen, what Eddie says will probably come true. He'll probably fight, you know, abroad a couple of times, but it would be nice to fight locally as well, even if not so locally in Liverpool, Manchester, Glasgow, because he's building up a big following in the whole of the UK. So a lot of us from Essex we can travel all around the country, we can travel all around Europe. But you know, I think a bit of both. Being personally, build up your fan base, keep that going, and it's obviously good to box abroad for the experience. But the main one would be New York or Vegas. Then I think we still get about 1,000 going over there, so that'd be great.
I wonder why you want to go to New York and Vegas, John.
Yeah,
John, pleasure. Thanks for having me down today and just sort of take me out for food and looking after me, and can't wait to see where Johnny goes, because whenever he steps in the ring, it's exciting. And yeah, pleasure, mate.
No, it's been a pleasure having you. We've had pie mash at Sainsbury's Pie Mash in Brentwood, and now we're going to go and have a Chinese at the Blue Orchid in Romford. So
Kung Po prawns, of course.
Kung Po prawns, I'll get you nearly as big as me. So the journey begins.
Bash.
Bash.